Did you see this latest report? There's like real controversy about some finding that the James Webb Telescope has discovered. And there's some talk of some large object
asteroid
moving towards us that's course correcting.
Yeah.
This is the weird part about it. And there's all these meetings, and so all the kooky UAP people are all over it saying disclosure is imminent. There's a mothership headed towards us. So it gets fun. I don't know what they mean by course correcting. What does that mean? And how do they know it wasn't impacted with something else that diverted it?
It could have been that. It could have just been the gravitational fields. It just could have been orbital path.
But they're not telling anybody. There's something going on. Do you think they would tell people? Like, imagine if there was a giant chunk of steel, of iron rather, that's headed towards us.
That's a great question. I think the question is, what would we do if we knew?
Do we have the capability of moving that thing? Would the FCC wait 5 months to give Elon
I think you'd probably send as many. But see, it's all a physics problem at that point.
Right. It's also a problem of breaking it up.
Exactly.
If it breaks up, then you have smaller pieces that are hitting everywhere instead of
by the way,
large chunk.
Isn't this like the perfect reason why being multiplanetary just makes a lot of sense?
Sure.
Like for example, would you get on an airplane if they said, hey, Joe, this is the best airplane in the world. It's the most incredible. It's the most luxurious. It has the best weather. You can surf. But there's only one navigation system. And if it goes out, boop. You'd never do that.
Right.
Would you ever get on that airplane? No.
No.
So, I think we owe it to ourselves to have some redundancy.
Yeah. But ultimately, I always wonder, like the universe sort of has these patterns that force innovation and constantly move towards further and further complexity. And if you were going to have intelligent life that existed on a planet, what better incentive to get this intelligent life to spread to other parts of the planet than to make that planet volatile? Make super volcanoes, earthquakes, solar flares, all sorts of different possibilities, asteroid impacts, all sorts of different possibilities that motivate this thing to spread.
But to say, this is fragile,
yeah,
and it's not forever, so create some redundancy. I mean, I was raised Buddhist. I'm not that religious in that way, but I'm kind of weirdly spiritual in this other way, which is I do think the universe is basically, it's littered with answers. You just got to go and find out what the right questions are. So to your point, are all these natural phenomena on Earth, the question is, okay, if that's the answer, well, the question is do we want to be a single planet species, or do we want to have some built-in redundancy? And, maybe 100 years from now that builds on top of what happens in the next 5, we'll have discovered all kinds of different planets. That's an amazing thing.
Unquestionably.
Unquestionably.
And we also know that there's planets in our immediate vicinity that used to be able to harbor life, like Mars. Right. We know that Mars was covered in water, and Mars had a sustainable atmosphere. Right. So we know that this is not just a dream, that this is possible, that what we're experiencing here on Earth is temporary. And if we get hit by something big, well, we know Earth was hit by a planet in its formation. There was Earth 1 and Earth 2. Right. The formation of the moon, the primary theory is that we were hit by another planet, and that's why we have such a large moon. That's a quarter of the size.
I didn't know that.
Quarter the size of Earth. It's like keeping our atmosphere stable and keeping it's a wild shooting gallery out there. I mean, it really is. And especially our particular solar system has a massive asteroid belt. There's 900,000 near-Earth objects.
But isn't that so inspiring? This idea of discovering all these other questions that we don't know yet to even ask.
Right.
That is a life well lived.
Yes.
Well,
that's the most promising aspect to a hyper-intelligent AI, in my opinion. That it'll be able to solve problems that are inescapable to us, and also offer us real hard data about how big of a problem this is and when this needs to be solved by, and then come up with actionable solutions.
Yeah.